Hello everybody, SoFloDad back here again. We are doing an unboxing and an installation today. We're going to be taking a look at the Cooler Master Hyper 212 RGB Black Edition. Wanted to kind of give a test run to see if we're getting any better thermal performance with an air cooler, an aftermarket air cooler, versus the stock AMD. That's what we actually took out. Was the stock AMD Wraith Prism. So we're going to install the Hyper 212 RGB Black Edition and run some thermal testing on it. What we did for testing before the installation of the Cooler Master cooler is on the stock cooler, we did a 15-minute run of ATA 64 stress test, and then we're going to, after the installation, we're going to rerun the ATA 64 test again 15 minutes, and we're going to take a look at the thermal results for the Cooler Master versus the stock AMD Wraith cooler, and see if it's worth it and kind of go from there. So let's take a look at the installation, the unboxing, the installation, and then we'll come back for some final thoughts after and we'll see what we think. So let's unbox it. All right, so this is the Cooler Master Hyper 212 RGB Black Edition. We're going to be installing this in the PC here pretty soon, but I want to unbox it, go through all of the components that it comes with, and then we'll go through the installation and take a look at the temps after the installation and see how it looks. Okay. So in the box we have all of the mounting hardware. So these are for the fans. There is a fan extender, it looks like. This is the mounting plate. This is going to go on the back of the motherboard like that, with the mounting posts through it. It's not easy to do with one hand, so okay. So these, it does come included with brackets for the Intel mount, which is those right there. We won't be using those. Those are the two brackets for the AMD installation, so we'll need those. And then this is, so it's a Molex connector and a RGB controller for the fan, but we'll actually be plugging into a fan header and a controller on the motherboard for the RGB, so we won't wind up using those either. This is a tube of thermal paste, and then clips for the mounting backplate, and then this is actually all of the hardware for the mounts. And we'll go through, when we do the installation, what we need are going to be those four pieces right there, that to tighten them down, those four, those 2 screws there, and that should do it. The rest of this is for these pieces over here are for Intel installations. So, and then let's take the cooler out and take a look at that. All right, so now I'm gonna so you have the user manual, warranty card, and then so that is the unit right there. So it does include 1 fan, and then the brackets that were in there were in case you wanted to actually mount a second fan. You'll see this one's got those clips on the side. So that would be how you add a second fan. And then it is 4 heat pipes into the fin stack. And then on the fan we have the RGB header, and then the RGB header connector, and then the power to the fan. And then obviously before we install, we'll take that off because that will be where the thermal paste comes in contact with the CPU and the cooler. So okay, so the first thing we're going to do is actually install these brackets onto the cooler. And what you'll notice, and it may be kind of hard to see, but there's a little notch on the bracket, and that notch is going to fit right on there, and it kind of locks it in so it won't go anywhere. And then there's 1 screw, one of these little tiny ones, that's going to go right through the bottom. Alright, and through the magic of television and video, the brackets are installed. Now you'll notice I did take the fan off for the installation, so you needed to take the fan off to install the bracket, and then it'll also need to be off so that you can screw down those 4 screws to the motherboard, and then we can just snap the fan back on. So, alright, now it is time to break open the case and take out the old one, the old cooler, and get this in installed. Alright, so the next step, we're going to take those, I guess you would call it a nut. We're going to take these bolts, and they're going to go in the back of the bracket, and you'll see these mounts here, those 4 mounts are your AMD, and then these outside are Intel. So those just sit those go in just like that, and then once they're installed, there is a clip. These clips snap over them to hold them in. They're just a little retainer clip. just like that. And then once they're installed, it keeps the bolt from sliding out. So we're going to finish putting the other 3 in, and then we're going to install the bracket. Okay, so right now we're running the stock AMD Wraith Prism cooler. That's what we're going to be taking out and swapping out for the Cooler Master. Okay, next thing we're going to be doing, we have, let's see, we've removed the original AM4 mounting bracket that comes stock on your motherboard. Whatever you do, do not throw them away. Hold on to them. If you ever have to RMA your motherboard, you need to have them to send back. So set them aside, put them in your motherboard box. Do not throw them away. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to clean the old thermal paste, and then we're going to take the back off and install the new mounting bracket, and then install the new cooler. Alright, so on your back plate, one thing that's very, very important is look at your posts, and they go to the bottom of each. The bottom, and then you look at those, they're to the inside. So they all go like that. And then from there, it just fits right in the back. Now, if you don't have a motherboard or a case with a cutout in the back for your motherboard, you may have to take your motherboard out. So just be ready. So now we're going to put the pieces on the front, and I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, so as you can see, we got the first one installed, and then we'll just put the other 3 on. Just go finger tight. Doesn't have to be super, super, super tight. Just snug. You see the CPU is all cleaned off, no more residual thermal paste. Alright, so once you've got those on, in the kit there is a little, like a socket essentially. You can just put that on. Grab your screwdriver and just snug it down. Again, not too tight, you don't want to crack the board. And then just rinse and repeat. And that's it. They're tightened down. Alright, so next is going to be thermal paste, and we're going to install the cooler. So applying thermal paste, you want to go with a pea size right in the middle, just about like that. That may be a little, well, it's about the size of a pea. This is not one of those situations where more is better. So pea size right in the middle, and then we're going to screw down and mount the coolers. I know this may sound kind of silly, but please remove the label or the protective film on the bottom before you install your cooler. And the other thing you may want to do, and I did this off camera, is check your height. Make sure it will fit inside your case before you actually attach it. Mine fits, I tested it already. So here we go. You're just gonna set it in, kind of line up the screws, and then we're going to start screwing it down. When we screw it down, I'm going to do that off camera, but you're going to go diagonal. So you go one, you're going to go corner, 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 and just all the way around like that until it's tight. So that's how you tighten it down. Be right back. All right, and there she is. She is all screwed down, not going anywhere. Just like that. So now we're going to install the fan. Install the fan, get the fan headers plugged in, put our RAM and our GPU back in, and hook it all back up and test it out. Be right back. All right, everything is installed again. Yes, I know my cable management is horrible. I know that, but everything's installed, so we're gonna hook it up and boot it and see if we got fan working and all the RGB rainbow goodness again. So let's go check it out. Okay, so with everything all said and done, installation wasn't bad. The only thing I will caution you on is if you have if your RAM is very tall, it potentially is going to be a very tight fit. I use Oloy Warhawk, and it is like just touching it. It is super tight. So if you have a high profile RAM, just be cautious. You may need to actually raise up the fan just a little bit. My only other complaint as of right now, and I'm still researching it and trying to figure out what could have happened, is I have a Gigabyte Aorus motherboard, and I have the fan plugged into the 4-pin RGB header. And as you can see on the screen, the RGB fan, or the RGB, is supposed to be compatible with the Gigabyte RGB Fusion, and I'm only getting two colors. I'm getting green and I'm getting red. So I'm going to try unplugging it and flipping it, and maybe I have the 4-pin backwards, I guess you would say. So we're going to try that, but right now I'm only getting red and green, and if I go into the RGB Fusion software, I can get it to like cycle through a couple colors, but the inside of my PC is all blue, and I cannot for the life of me get blue on the fan. And it is not the brightest RGB that I've ever seen either. So like, as bright as this picture looks, it is not that bright actually in the case and installed. So that's my one only real complaint about it so far, but it may be operator error. I've got to get into the case and change the direction on the header and just flip it top to bottom. Other than that, thermally, it runs very well. So one of the things I did notice in the testing, we're going to go look at the specs real quick on this. So it's a single fan, 4 heat pipe, 120 millimeter by 25 millimeter thick fan. The fan speed goes from 650 to 2000 RPM. I have it maxed out right now at, well, in the BIOS, I set it to ramp up to 100% when it needs to. So during my testing, the max speed was 1,974 RPM. That was the max speed. So it doesn't actually even come near the max speed for the AMD Wraith cooler. But let's take a look at the thermals before and after. So this is the AMD stock cooler that came with the 2700X. So temp-wise, The minimum was 45C. The maximum was 82C with an average of 70.9. Again, that was a 15-minute stress test on Ada 64. If you look at the fan speeds, the minimum speed was 2,090 RPM, maxed at 3,013 with an average of 2,879 RPM. So that fan is cranking, okay? Definitely, the temps were definitely respectable with the stock cooler, but 82C to me is getting a little toasty. So now let's take a look at the same test, 15 minutes, Ada 64 stress test with the Cooler Master. So this is the Cooler Master test. So what you will notice, minimum temp 39C, maximum temp 76C with an average of 69.9. So it wasn't a drastic drop in temps. Realistically, it was only about a 1C drop in the average. The max, though, did drop about 6C. But one of the things that I found very, very interesting was actually the motherboard temp. So if you look at the stock cooler, minimum was 39C, max 43C, average 40.7C. And then when you go to the Cooler Master, the minimum was 32 and the max was 35. So there was a very big drop in the motherboard temps. So, and what I attribute that to is obviously with the AMD cooler, let's pull it here, you're pulling air in from the top and it's blowing heat out the sides. And this side here would be pushing out towards the VRM and then towards the exhaust fan on the back of my case. And then this side is actually blowing out towards the RAM. So this side is heating up the RAM, this side is heating up the VRMs, and that's why your motherboard is running warmer with this than it is with the Cooler Master. The Cooler Master one, it's an intake, so it's pulling air in over the RAM, blowing it through the stack, and then out the back towards the exhaust fan. So it's totally cycling air different through the case than it is with the stock cooler. So kind of an unintentional benefit of having the VRMs cooler and your motherboard temps down versus the stock cooler. One of the things I would like to test, and I may do this very shortly, is I'd like to see what would happen if I got a higher RPM fan that would do, closer to 3,000 RPM, I guess. Very similar to like the stock fan from AMD, and put a faster fan on there and see if that would do anything temp-wise, bring it down even cooler, and potentially even go with a second fan and do like a push-pull. So it's pulling, pushing air in one side, and that second fan is pulling it out and sending it out to the exhaust fan, and see if that does anything better. All in all, thoughts on it. Happy with the performance. It's about a $40. I think it was about $40 when I picked mine up. All in all, happy with it. Except, like I said, the one issue with the RGB. If you're looking for just RGB goodness and bright color, yeah, it's not. You're not getting this. I haven't gotten anything this bright yet. Let's look at the gallery here. That's the color I was expecting. That bright, vibrant blue, and because that's what the rest of my case is everything is that bright blue. And no, I haven't been able to get this. So if this is what you're looking for, you're probably going to be disappointed. Temperature-wise, thermally, very happy with it. It's not as drastic a drop as I thought it was going to be, but it's not bad. If you were buying one of the newer AMD chips, that does not come with a stock cooler, I would definitely go this route. Very happy with it. Installation was very simple, and it looks good. My cautions are, make sure you check your case. Mine, it fits, but like in this picture, if this dark gray band, this black band here, if that was my tempered glass on my side panel, I probably only have an eighth of an inch between the glass and my cooler. It's tight. So measure, make sure you've got the room to fit it in there. And if you've got the room and you need an air cooler, I would definitely grab this and give it a try. I will have my Amazon affiliate link in the description if it is something you want to try out. It doesn't cost you anything extra to buy it through that affiliate link, but it does help the channel out. And yeah, if you're in the market for an air cooler, whether you need one because the processor you got didn't come with one, or you want to upgrade from your stock cooler, this is definitely a viable option, and very, very happy with it so far. So with that, everybody, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Don't forget, easiest way to help the channel is hit that subscribe button, give a thumbs up to the video if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't, if it wasn't helpful to you, and drop a comment and let me know what other stuff you would like to see me review and look at. So until the next one, take care, everybody.